The old building sat on its own lot, surrounded by an aging fence, wreathed in barbed wire. It didn't look like a studio for producing content of an adult nature, because it wasn't. Not yet. I purchased the rundown old place in a government auction. Despite its dilapidated appearance, it did have a few things going for it. It had come cheap, for one. Privacy was another. There wasn't a neighbor for miles. Then there was simply the nature of it. Who didn't want to own an old government research facility? Of course, it wasn't anything special. Dating back to the 1950s, it was just one of hundreds of places where paper pushers sat at desks and filed reports to justify their ridiculous government salaries. The nature of the work? Traffic pattern research and management? Yeah. Not exactly top secret. That's what I thought, what everyone thought, but I was about to learn what really happened in the basement of TP 105-D. The place was something of a wreck. Along with the building and the little plot of land, I'd also inherited its contents. While it was primarily garbage, old desks, filing cabinets, crumbling office chairs, and outdated printers, there were a few collectible gems I was able to hawk on eBay for some extra cash. It took over a week to clean the place out, and another to make it barely habitable for my work. Naturally, I kept quite a bit of the old charm for special scenes. Not many people in the industry were pumping out Cold War roleplay scenes, so why not? I like to do things that are different. I'd avoided the lower level, mostly because my first mission was getting the working areas ready for production and post-processing. Secondly, it was a 75-year-old basement in an old government building and, well, it was creepy. I couldn't ignore it, though. Curiosity. My first impression of it was underwhelming. After replacing light bulbs, I kicked them on and lit the place up. It was empty. Just an unfinished block room holding a few more filing cabinets. There was, however, a door at the back. After trying every key I'd been given on purchasing the place, I finally got one that fit the lock and opened the door. The cold air that came out of it sent shivers down my back as I looked down a pitch-black staircase. Okay, more spooky. To my surprise, the switch on the wall worked, and the old lights fizzled on. It took some courage to take that first step into the unknown, but again, my curiosity compelled me. My footsteps echoed off the aging walls with each careful step down the steep stairs. At the bottom, I found nothing, just another empty room. Not entirely empty, though. Set in the floor was a metal ring. On the stone wall nearby were two old buttons, one red, one green, and a compartment with a glass window. Inside the compartment, I saw a metal sphere. The compartment had no lock, and the glass slid up when I tried it. Reaching in, I took the sphere and turned it over in my hands. On its surface were symbols that looked either ancient or alien, maybe both. My courage, however, failed me when, what I can only describe as an eyelid, opened on the sphere. A blue mechanical eye studied me. That's when I dropped it and bolted back up the stairs, throwing closed the door as I ran through it. I stood in the basement, watching the door for several seconds. Then I heard the first tap. On the other side of the door, a tap, 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 like metal on metal. The lessons of every horror movie I'd seen failed me at that moment. In the movies, failing to run at this point resulting in gruesome death. The handle on the door turned. Frozen in place, I watched it happen. The door opened. The metal sphere and its blue eye hovered there, watching me. In a voice like tin, it said, "Hello, please don't be alarmed, I mean you no harm." Again, the lessons of movies taught me that floating orbs declaring their harmless nature were usually dangerous. And yet I stood there as it inched out of the doorway.
I am Exploratory Unit D34. Chronometer indicates it has been 71 years, 4 months, and 2 days since my last activation. Has the Waygate project been shut down?
"Hi?" I squeaked.
Hello? I am Exploratory Unit D34. Do you have clearance to be in this facility?
I bought it, I said.
Ah. May I examine your documentation to confirm your clearance?
It's upstairs.
Very good. I will accompany you.
What are you? I asked.
I am Exploratory Unit D34.
What is an exploratory unit? The thing's size and general appearance continually shifted, as though it couldn't decide what it wanted to be. It was the size of a baseball one moment, a basketball the next. Its polished chrome exterior was in flux, shiny one moment, dull and bronze, then neon green.
I cannot disclose that information to anyone without clearance. May I examine your documentation?
As it didn't seem wise to provoke a floating sphere, I nodded and led the thing up the steps. It hovered slowly behind, making no threats. When we reached my office, I pulled the deed from my file and placed it on the desk. The sphere examined it, turned to me, and said,
Thank you. I see it is an official document. The building seems to be empty. I can only conclude the project has been terminated. I will self-terminate in accordance with directives.
"Wait!" I shouted. "Don't!"
Directives state in the event of project termination, I am to self-terminate.
It's not terminated. The project, I'm going to audit it. I just need to know what it is, I said. How could I not? I'd discovered a forgotten secret in the basement. What else could I do?
You have provided your documentation, and I have confirmed you are the new owner of this facility. Therefore, directives allow me to disclose the information. The Waygate project studies the infinite number of universes by means of a recovered technology of unknown origin.
Infinite number of universes?
Yes, I am Exploratory Unit D34. My purpose is to assess and aid the incursion teams for the project. It would appear there are no more incursion teams. I will self-terminate in accordance with directives.
Wait. I'm the incursion team. I'm not sure why I said it. I was not an incursion team. I make amateur... Still, curiosity.
You are the incursion team. Understood. Self-termination suspended.
So, how does it work? The Waygate? I asked.
I do not have that information. As far as I am aware, the method of travel was never determined, though several theories existed. My function is to aid in exploration. Therefore, the operation of the Waygate itself is not paramount to my function.
Are you alive? I asked.
I am a self-aware mechanism. Exploratory units such as I were found and recovered with the Waygate. It is presumed we were built by the creators, though I was not provided that information. My function is to aid in exploration, therefore...
I got it.
Will you make an incursion?
It was a good question. Would I? Can I see it? I asked.
You have the necessary clearance.
I followed D34 back to the basement, where it hovered near the two buttons on the wall saying,
Green is for activation. Red is for termination.
I studied the buttons and asked, how do I tell it where to go?
Dr. Stansbury and his team never found a way to direct it. It was theorized that the gate takes one where they are needed. In each incursion, the teams happened upon situations where their aid was required.
Did anyone die? I asked.
Several times. Will you make an incursion?
If I did, how would I get back? I stepped back suddenly when a mechanical syringe deployed from the sphere.
I will embed a reality anchor into your subdermal tissue. After 24 hours, you will be pulled back to your proper place. Here.
You're going to inject me with something?
Yes, please hold still.
Wait, I cried. Just wait. What is a reality anchor?
It is a technology found with the Waygate. Through testing, Dr. Stansbury's team determined its function. They were able to reproduce the technology for their teams. Please hold still.
Before I could react, the thing's stinger punched my neck. I yelped in shock, but just as quickly it withdrew.
You have been implanted with a reality anchor. You are now prepared to make an incursion. Safety protocols suggest you not get beheaded.
As I rubbed the sore spot on my neck, I offered an annoyed, thanks. Solid tip. Again, I studied the button and the metal ring on the floor. It all looked so mundane. I could hardly believe I was looking at some kind of spatial gateway. It was all so unreal. It was then I made a choice. I was not an adventurer. I was not a hero or a scientist. I make homemade dirty movies for the internet. What if I could be, though? The universe had put me here, and I'd been given an opportunity to discover something. Whatever had happened to Dr. Stansberry and the rest of the people here, curiosity and wonder drove me. I was standing alongside a talking metal ball, and I'd just had a piece of unknown technology injected into my neck. Could I take the next step? I supposed it wouldn't hurt to open it, to see it. I'll open it, I said. I pushed the green button, expecting flashes of lightning or something equally momentous. Instead, the ring glowed purple, then pink. A portal wavered in the air, bisecting the floor. I stood in front of it. On the other side, I saw a forest. It could have been any forest on Earth. Running through it was a dirt road. 24 hours? I asked. You're certain?
Yes.
I took a breath, took a step, and stood in the forest. Behind me was the gate, still shimmering, and on the other side, the basement. I could still step back through. That was when I noticed the change. My clothes. I'd been wearing a mini skirt and top. Now I looked like a fairy tale princess in a pink gown. How? I began.
The gate will attire you properly for the location.
Okay, so what am I supposed to do? The gate winked out of existence behind me. Forcing down panic, I breathed and clasped my shaking hands. This was a stupid idea. I wasn't prepared. I'd rushed. D34 shrunk as I watched, reducing itself to the size of a marble. It placed itself at my throat and became a pendant. How did you do that? I asked.
I am able to alter my shape and size to better blend in. You may commence the incursion.
With little other choice, I set off down the road. Where would it take me?